Okay, here we go. You've seen why AI sounds the way it does. You've seen how traditional prompting keeps you stuck in that sameness, right? And you've seen the cracks in the machine. And now it's time to break them wide open. Welcome to lesson three, the first three Renegade prompt styles. Now, these are not templates. These are triggers, not Tigger. They're triggers, triggers that break mimicry, triggers that provoke new connections, triggers that pull originality out of the machine. So we're going to walk through three of these forbidden prompt styles and how to wield them. Each one opens a new door. And once you see how they work, there's no going back. It's really amazing. So these are designed to really disrupt things, so break things, okay? So the first one is friction layer prompts. This is one of the simplest to apply and one of the most powerful because here's the truth. Most prompts are too smooth, too polite, too perfect, too polished, and that's why the output falls flat. Friction layer prompts flip that. These are the prompts that introduce emotional resistance or psychological tension directly into the input. You're not writing to the ideal customer anymore. You're writing to the real one, the one who's wrestling with doubt, the one who's burned out, frustrated, ashamed to admit that they're not where they thought they'd be. Take a look at this example prompt at the bottom here. Write a headline for a coaching program targeting high performers who secretly feel burned out and ashamed to admit they're losing motivation. You feel that? That's there's weight in that sentence. There's humanity, there's friction. It's not aspirational, it's vulnerable. And that's the moment where AI starts giving you content that's cutting instead of just being clever. Okay. Because here's the shift, folks. You're not prompting AI to impress anybody. You're prompting it to resonate with people at a gut level. And resonance doesn't come from perfection, it comes from applying pressure. When you embed that pressure into your prompt, the emotional weight, the internal conflict, the unsaid truth, you give the AI something real to work with. And the result is getting content that actually moves people. Because it wasn't written to sell, it was written to reveal. Okay. Now, tilted frame prompts. This is where your content stops sounding like AI and starts sounding like you. Most content is way too certain, it's too polished, too direct, too bland. It comes in like a corporate intern trying to sound impressive. And when what we actually want is something that sounds like a real human wrestling with something real. Tilted frame prompts work because they don't come in straight. They sneak in sideways. All right. Instead of starting with confidence, you start with like regret or guilt, reluctance, skepticism, or even a touch of sarcasm. It's the difference between five productivity hacks that changed my life and I used to roll my eyes at productivity hacks until one of them actually worked. Which one do you like better? One's a pitch and the other's a confession. And that's where the magic is in the confessions and the sarcasms and the contradictions, the uneasiness. You're not trying to sound polished here. You're trying to sound human, raw, flawed, curious. Okay. Not the expert on the hill. You're the skeptic in the back row who suddenly found a reason to lean in, right? That's what makes this content so sticky, all right? This type of style, it disarms the reader, all right? It invites a deeper level of trust because the moment you tilt the frame, you introduce dimension. So here's an example. Write a social post about how I used to roll my eyes at productivity hacks until one small shift actually changed everything. So if you wrote a prompt like that, a renegade prompt, you're going to get an output that's totally different than, something like write a social media post about productivity. What you're giving AI some real meat here, something it can really chew on. So that's tilted frame prompting. So now let's get into something even deeper. This is where we stop sounding like anyone else using AI. And these are layered subtext prompts. They aren't about what the AI says, they're about what the reader feels underneath the words. And that changes everything. So here's the mistake almost everyone makes: they prompt for content, but they should be prompting for impact. They say things like, write a promo for my course to avoid burnout. And what do they get? A promo. Avoid burnout, flat, on the nose, predictable. So you don't prompt for what you want the AI to say, right? If you prompt it with subtext, you say, write something that feels like the reader is slowly slipping away from their own work, but never say the word burnout. Now that creates mood, it creates tension, it creates emotion. Okay. It doesn't have to be explained, it's implied. Subtext is the art of suggestion. All right. So you're asking for implication. You don't need an explanation. All right. It's the thing your favorite movies and novels do. You know, it's like implied text really hits deep for people. You don't say exactly what's going on. You let people feel it between the lines. You let your reader figure it out. And when you can master this prompt type, you go from copywriter to cinematographer. All right. You don't just tell the story, you frame the emotional shot. So, just to review now, we're not going to prompt for clarity, we're going to prompt for sensation. Okay. So, we're not going to uh, like explain the thing, we're going to hint at it. And we're not going to spell it out. We're going to let the reader complete the emotion, and that's where the magic happens. So these are the things that we covered in Module 1, the three E defaults, why AI content is forgettable, what it means to break the machine as we kind of start to take a breath here. Because now, before I go on, I mean, you just been through kind of a mental shift that most people never even consider when they're working with AI. So it's okay to just kind of step back and look back on Module 1 here, because we understand now, even if AI is well written, most of the three defaults, comply, polish, and mimic, we've already tackled those. So we've really seen what it means to break the machine here, how to move past generic templates and actually provoke depth. You also just learned the three forbidden prompt styles: friction layer, tilted frame, and layered subtext. And you're starting to see how to apply them to real content you're already working on. Now, this is where things start to get exciting, because the goal now is not just to know the prompt types, whoop-de-doo, right? I mean, knowing them is one thing. You have to use them live in the wild with your own voice, your own ideas. Because once you do, you're never going to look at prompting again the same way, or content for that matter. In the next section, we're going to get hands-on. All right. So this is an optional bonus I'm going to throw at you here. We're going to take a basic prompt like an email, headline, a sales hook, and we're going to flip it using these forbidden styles. So you're going to see the difference immediately, not just in the copy you create, but in how you think as a creator. So what we're going to do here is, if you're up for it, if you want to take this even deeper, here's your challenge. Step one, pick a piece of AI generated content you've already created. Okay. It could be a headline, a short email, a social post, whatever you want. Run it through a friction layer prompt that we just covered. Infuse it with emotional resistance, doubt, fatigue, the stuff under the surface that makes it real. And then rewrite it using a tilted frame, using sarcasm, regret, quiet reluctance, whatever. This isn't about perfection, it's about emotional texture. And finally, add a version that works with subtext and not clarity. Don't spell everything out. Hint at what's missing, what's slipping, what's quietly unraveling. Now, these aren't just writing exercises, these are pattern breakers. They rewrite the way you prompt. So rewrite it like a renegade. And we're going to see you in module two, where we talk about conversational prompt mastery coming up, because one of the best ways to make AI work, give you the results you're looking for, is to get into a dialogue with it, have a conversation with AI. Very exciting stuff. I can't wait to dive in with you with that. But this is it for module one. And I can't wait also to do modules three and four with you, which are going to be live. So those are coming up because I'm going to be doing live Renegade prompting as part of this program. So I'll see you in module two.